Tonight on All Rise, we meet Lola's mom. Emily's still playing games with Luke, and we have a fire court case. No pun intended. Stay tuned. We're talking about it all right now.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hi, guys. Welcome in. As you can see, this is the All Rise AfterBuzz show here on AfterBuzz TV. We're talking season 1, episode 7, titled Uncommon Women and Mothers. Today we're going to talk Jax Hopkins' case. We have a battle for a search warrant. We're going to talk about Emily and Luke like we always do. And we get to meet Lola's mom. Plus, we've got some news and gossip for you and some weird court cases like we always do. But before we get into all the fun, I have to introduce you to my lovely co-host. For starters, I'm Alexis Brown. I'll be hosting for today. And right next to me, we have Princess, who's giving us our weird court cases.
Hello, guys. I'm excited. This one's pretty cool.
Yes, this is a good episode. Then we have Zuri, who is holding it down with the news and gossip.
Yes, spicy news.
Yes. And then we have Shawnteairrra, who's holding it down on the live chat. So make sure you are tuned in and talking to us. Hey, girl.
Hey, girl. Let me know what you guys think.
Yes. Let us know what you're thinking. All right, so this is a really good episode. It's, like I said, it's called Uncommon Women and Mothers. I think that's a fitting name. But before we talk about women and mothers, let's talk about Jax Hopkins, who actually goes by the pronouns they and them, which was a new thing for me. What about you guys? Have you all heard that before?
Yeah, so where I work, we are focused on diversity and inclusion.
Nice.
So I've even seen in some email addresses they'll actually have their preferred pronouns in their signature.
Nice.
So it was interesting to kind of see how they kind of handled the topic on this show.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm pretty familiar with it.
Yeah, what about you guys?
Yeah, same. I feel like I've seen a lot of like Twitter handles, a lot of like people who are like outwardly defining themselves. Like I would rather be spoken to or referred to as this. So yeah, I've heard it.
Yeah, same. I'm on the co-chair for Fox Noir, which is, with diversity and inclusion, the person I report to, she has it in her email in her signature. So I think it's like she, her, hers, or something like that.
Nice.
So
our pronouns will be like she and her.
Right, yeah.
Got it. Okay. Obviously, I'm the only one who's been living under a rock. But I'm glad they have shows. They have shows like this where they teach us that people see themselves in a different way than they show outwardly, and I think the term is non-binary, and so you don't conform to a certain gender. So I think that's pretty cool. I'm glad that I was able to learn that lesson through our court case. So it started off. Jax is fighting in jail because this show always starts at a complete 100. It never just kind of eases it out there. And it's because they placed them in the in a men's prison. Do you think that was fair? Like, I guess, how does that work when you are non-conforming with, like, going to jail or going to the restroom? What do they do?
I think they're just now tackling it with the restrooms, like all like gender neutral restrooms. I'm interested to see like in the next, I guess, 5 to 20 years what they do with prisons, because that is really scary. And Jax made that clear. I won't survive in prison. And although they are non-binary, I don't know what they may have formally even identified as. So. And I'm guessing, like, when you're getting booked, the person booking you probably cares less, which is even more scary. So I'm interested to see what they do with that.
Yeah. What do you think?
Honestly, I don't know, because when I was watching it, even though Jax didn't want to refer to themselves as they or them, I was a little confused. So, Jax was a woman?
I don't know
never
what
said.
Jax
I know,
was.
because I kind of got it that it was I really thought it was a man, but then I was like, wait a minute, is Jax a woman? I just didn't know.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
Yeah, okay, so I'm not the only one that's confused. I'm like, should I know this?
They never clarified. It was just they or them.
Okay.
There were a couple times, obviously, they were in the men's prison, but I thought at some point someone referred to them as she. So I don't know if they were born female, and then I don't even know, girl.
But yeah, it's like, how would they handle that when it comes to, a person getting jail time? Because you saw that Jax was in with a bunch of grown, big, scary men.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
do you get to choose which? I don't know.
I don't know if that's a situation where they check someone's birth certificate, or does that become null and void when you change that part of yourself?
That's something I've never thought about.
Yeah.
Or maybe their preference, like, do you want to go with the men or the women?
I don't know. I mean, I would think she would choose the woman, but
I would.
Right.
I would too. But it really, stuff like that, seeing it in shows like this, it really makes you think about all these things that I never would have thought about without seeing this show beforehand, because I never thought of any of this stuff.
Yeah, because it's easier to create a unisex bathroom, but I don't know if you can really create a unisex or like non-gender or prison.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Complicated.
Maybe they'll make like 5 of them, like Utah, Kentucky, and then like you just get sent to like the 5 non-binary jails.
Oh,
Maybe.
true. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, and please nobody attack me on social media or in our comments, but that seems like a newer thing, at least to me. Like I said, I just learned about it today. So would it really be that many people? I don't know.
I think non-binary is not new, but I think society's just starting to care.
Okay.
Or like just starting to at least make like awareness, I think, with like the community raising their voices. I feel like we're like us who don't who conform are like new, relate to the party.
Yeah, that's true. I actually had a conversation with my parents where they, they're old school, and they felt like they were seeing it a lot more, and they were saying it in a way as everybody's just becoming that way. And I told them, I was like, no, I don't think it's that people are just all of a sudden, deciding to date men and to date women. I think it's always been like this, and now there's finally, platforms where you actually can see the way people are living, and people actually feel this comfortableness because of things like diversity and inclusion, where they feel like they can be honest about who they are. So maybe that's the situation here.
Yeah, and Mo brought up too that Jax, I mean, even the name itself, it's a neutral name,
right?
So it doesn't even tell you if they are a man or a woman.
Yeah,
I'm trying to choose my words wisely, but I think too, just kind of going back to what you were saying about the bathrooms. I mean, this is a real thing, that there are people out there that don't. That just refer themselves as them or they. So it's like they should be able to have some sort of... They should be able to do that, for one. And we should be able to be sensitive to that.
Right.
Especially with things... Because times have changed.
Right.
We can't always just keep things the way that they were. Because these are actually real people,
Right.
So, but I think what they'll end up doing is, like what you said, maybe having certain jails for gender-neutral people, so...
I don't know, but I definitely think with a show like this, they'll get the conversation going, and maybe they'll try to figure those things out.
Yeah.
So Jax, our beloved Jax, was on trial for arson. Something caught on fire. They said that she threw a sock and something caught on fire, a building. And we kind of learned pretty early on that she did do it. But they were going on with the case like she did it anyway, like she could be innocent. How did you guys feel about that?
I mean, at the end of the day, and I think they've spoken about this in a previous episode, it's just their responsibility to establish some sort of doubt. So I think that when Emily approaches these cases, her goal is, I just need to establish some sort of doubt. It doesn't matter to her whether or not you did it. I would feel conflicted in that. Even with the actual outcome of the case, I was kind of conflicted because she did do it. She chose to do something that, though I understand why she did it, at the end of the day, it's still a problem. But I think that's kind of how Emily approaches it. It doesn't matter whether or not you did it. It's just a matter of establishing doubt with the jurors. So,
What did you guys think?
I mean, I'm same. I feel like we've talked about that too on this show. Like, okay, this person did something wrong, and we get to see the backstory and why they made, like, their thought process. To me, I feel like it shouldn't always negate that they did something that was wrong. Like, I understand homelessness, and this person is invading your space, but does that mean you can set it on fire?
Right.
So that was like kind of my side eye for this case, but
or even I understood the fear, but it's like you also chose to do something that you maybe, I'm just assuming she didn't know it was a felony, but still, like, you're an adult, you made a bad decision, you got to deal with that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I had a couple things. So the fact that Jax was kind of playing the whole I'm innocent role, and then once we found out about the socks, then it was like, okay, I did it. And then how Jax got the misdemeanor after all of that just kind of threw me off. Although I feel like with Emily's cases, she's always kind of rooting for her clients, of course, because she's obviously siding with them. But it just seemed like that they're always innocent. Or if they're, like in this case, when they're not innocent, it's something like this. They get a misdemeanor. To be honest, I thought that they were going to find Jax guilty because when Lola's mom came into play, and I was like, okay, this thing with Mark is going to be weird. It's going to cause some friction. I just figured that it would kind of shake things up a little bit because Roxy had knew Mark. So I thought they were going to find her guilty, which, I mean, they did for misdemeanor. But I don't know. I mean, I think I'm kind of... I definitely like this episode, and this case was interesting for me, but... I would like to see. Never mind. I'll say that part for predictions.
But I think I get at what you're trying to say, or at least what I took from what you're saying, and I totally agree. Is she always ends up with somebody who has really good character and a good backstory. So it's like you said, even if they did do something bad, we still want a route that they get off, even though technically what they did was bad.
And she always gets jurors that have this sympathetic
this
mindset.
simple, like empathetic heart, and it's like, one, is that really realistic that every juror is gonna just look at it from the character-driven side of it, like, oh, they had a hard life, you know? And two, is it really realistic that a public defender always ends up with somebody who's like this really good person deep down inside, despite of what actions they may have done, you know?
I mean, Jax didn't really start to grow on me until Jax got a little sad and was just like, I'm not gonna make it in jail. And I was just like, okay, so in that moment, I'm just like, I don't want to see Jax go to jail over this, but at the same time, it's like, you can't be lighting fires, my dude.
Also, sidebar.
Them.
Like,
sorry.
I use the word dude too.
Someone was homeless and you gift them a pair of socks, what in return you set something on fire with those socks? Like, aren't you homeless? You needed those socks.
Right.
Like, that was like mind blowing. Like, I wish my mom would buy me something that I needed to turn around and just like treat it like it doesn't care.
That's a good point. How would you, as the giver of the item, feel if the person decided, I'm going to beat someone over the head with this hammer that you got me, you know, like...
Right. Well, clearly Roxy wasn't mad. I mean, she was trying to defend him. I mean, he went to jail.
That's true.
But that, like you said, that's also, y'all are making really good points, because it's like, oh, it just so happened the same day she gave him these socks is the day that they used it to set something on fire. And I feel like that was like the main argument in the case, is the fact that she had just bought them these clothes on that day. But what are the odds that it just so happens to be the same day? What if she bought those socks for them like weeks ago? Would that matter in the case or not, you know?
I mean, I guess as long as he can establish some sort of connection that she had been given socks that look just like this by this woman, it places them in her hand at some point.
Got it. Well, one lesson I did learn is that, you know, you could get a smaller crime if you did set something on fire, but you did it without malice. Had y'all ever heard anything like that before? I just assumed setting anything on fire would be arson, but apparently, as long as it wasn't like bad intent behind it, it could be a smaller charge.
So what was the intent behind the fire? Like, what was not bad about setting the building on fire?
I guess because they were doing it in a kind of protective self-defense type of way versus them just burning something down because they were upset, is how I kind of took it.
I guess it's like manslaughter versus murder, but at the same time, your intent, it's not like, oh, I hit you in the face and you fell out and I didn't intend for you to die. That's different from, I want to burn down this establishment.
Right. No matter if it's because of something somebody did to me or just because I don't like this building.
Like my thing is, like, why would you be setting things on fire anyway? It's like, I think it's black or white. I mean, you're starting a fire. What do you think's gonna happen?
That was the argument with Emily. It can't be black or white.
Emily feel differently about this particular.
But Emily was only saying that because it was her client, so she's supposed to say that. But I ain't look. That ain't my client, so I can say it's black or white.
Okay, so with that being said, if you all were on the jury, would you have voted to make they guilty or not guilty?
I'd
guilty.
say guilty of, I guess of the felony.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd say it. Like, what else did you think was going to happen? Did you just want to burn one room? What did you think was going to happen?
Yeah, I guess like that's what I was getting at. Like the non-malice means like it wasn't against the owner of the property or it wasn't against any specific person. It was just mad at the building. Like, did the building get treated as not a part of something? Is that what I miss? I'm just, because it would have been a felony for me. So I'm like, what am I missing here?
Yeah. You know, it automatically makes me think of Lisa Left Eye Lopez when she said, but I mean, depends on how you look at it. She burned the house down because she was upset because she found out her fiance was cheating, or maybe she just actually did accidentally set the shoes on fire, which caused the whole fire. It's like, how do you really know what is true when you have there's such a fine line between bad intent and good intent?
I feel like there's a difference between let me set this sock on fire and throw it inside so it can set the building on fire versus I set the shoes on fire. I intended to burn the shoes, and it's spread, and now it's the entire house.
But then she got charged with arson, so that adds to like the confusion of it all.
Misdemeanor or felony, though?
I don't know. We gotta Google it.
Google it.
It seemed like
You got us, Giants #1 fan.
Yeah, let us know. You know it all. But I can say it was a new thing this is the first time, and I guess it wasn't technically a loss because they got the misdemeanor, but this is the first time we've seen a situation where Emily didn't win.
And I wrote down, too, it was the first time Emily said, like, we're just going to lose. Like, when she was talking to Jax, I was like, we've never seen Emily just kind of like, it's over, bro.
Yeah. Figure it out. All right. Well, before we go on, Shawnteairrra, do you have a message for our viewers?
I sure do. So I just want to thank you guys for making us the ESPN of TV Talk. If you guys are on YouTube, make sure you guys give us a thumbs up. Trying to bring and subscribe. If you guys are listening on iTunes, make sure you guys give us 5 stars. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. We'll definitely shout you guys out as we have been doing with Mo. Oh, that's good. I'm going to have to read that. We just want to thank you guys so much for being a part of this family. We're definitely happy to be a part of this family. So make sure you guys continue to subscribe and definitely check out all the other shows that we're on.
Yes. Thank you.
What was that comment?
Okay. So Mo said Lisa Left Eye was definitely bad intentions. Remember how big that fire was?
Yeah, but okay. See, that's where you have to really draw the line between what is a bad intention and what is a good intention, or what could be an accident. It's like it's really all about opinion, I guess, for me. So it's like, how could they really use that as something for, as like you said, as black and white as this? It's all about perception and what you think. So while Mo may think she did it with bad intentions, I may think, she just wanted to burn the shoes. So
look. You know what you're doing when you're setting a fire. Like, I have candles in my room. So I light candles. I ain't gonna be lighting nothing else and thinking, I got candles. So, like, no. I know I'm lighting candles in my room. Nothing else be burning.
Yeah, right.
So I just feel like that for me, like, if I'm lighting something on fire, I know what I'm setting on. I know what I'm lighting up. The candles only. Like, I don't understand how that could take any other way. If my house burnt down, this would have been an accident or somebody set me up, because there'd be no way. Like, I wouldn't do that. I feel like that if you set like some clothes on fire, I mean, you know what you're doing when you're setting clothes on fire. Yeah. And you have to understand too that can lead to a bigger fire. Yeah. It's like, I'm sorry. You don't play with fire.
Any lawyers in the chat, let us know.
I will say that I do think that as you talk about lighting things on fire, I really wish that along with their sentences, people would get mandated therapy. Because I think it's interesting. She talked about mental health issues that you see with people who are out on the street. And I felt like that was an eye-opener for me. Where are you at in your headspace that you're willing to set something on fire, especially you live near it? Just the fact that you're setting something on fire purposely, I just wonder what else is going on. And then even just her mindset and talking about going to prison, like, I really think people should have mandated evaluations and therapy as well.
Yeah, you bring up a really great point. And And I want to be mindful too, because I want to be sensitive, because I understand that people have like some people have a mental disorder. So in my mind, like, I know I would never set anything intentionally on fire besides my candle, because I don't want nothing to be burning like that. So I mean, I wouldn't want to set fire to anything. But somebody who may not have the same mindset as me, or that may have some sort of mental illness, they may, I don't know, they may get off on that. So
or some sort of trauma.
Exactly. So I definitely want to be cautious when I say that, because I don't want to take away from people who actually really are. That could be a trigger for some people to like, watch something burn.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, any lawyers in the chat, give us some clarity.
Let us know.
So, we met Lola's mom. She came into the scene because she was a witness on Jax's case, but that was the only reason she came back. Lola has been a judge for however many months or years or however long we've been following her as a judge, and this was the first time her mother came back. What did you guys think of that?
It took me a while to form an opinion, honestly. I didn't know, like, are we going to see why? Like, was Lola being groomed to follow the path of her mom, and then she took another side? Like, and it's still a little gray for me, because even in the end, we saw, like, a little, like, sassy back and forth. And I feel like, I don't know about your guys' like, relationship with your mom, but me and my mom have, like, that little sassy banter here and there. So I thought that was, like, nice. I felt like it could have been a hint on, like, the cultural aspect of, like, Black women and a mother and a daughter relationship, but I still don't really know, like, how I feel about the relationship, to be honest.
That's a very good point, because like you said, it didn't seem like there had been like any terrible argument that they had in the past or some sort of fallout. It seemed like everything was all good with them. The only real issue is that they just don't contact all the time, and her mom hadn't come to see her in court. But like you said, as we sometimes see with Black women and their daughters, once they bring them up to a certain thing, she's a judge, for crying out loud. She probably feels like she doesn't need me there, her mom. Like, she's a judge. Look at what she's been able to do for herself. So I probably would be more of a burden to her by showing up than actually being there for her. But it actually did make Lola feel away. Would any of y'all feel away if your mom didn't come?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's interesting because as soon as she got there, I felt like you immediately got to understand how she felt about Lola being a judge in the criminal justice system. So I don't know. I guess thinking about it, like, I would get in the way. I would get in the way because I'm so frustrated with this system, so I wouldn't be helpful. Yeah. But I agree with you, Zuri. I feel like it's so early. There's so much we don't know about their history. And even with Lola's conversation with Mark, I feel like there may be more to their history than we got to see tonight. So, yeah, I'm still, the courts or the jury's still out for me and the mother.
That's a good point, too, because Lola had made a comment where Mark was like, I don't want to punch your mother in the face. And her Lola was like, well, you're the only person. And it's like, they made it seem like she was, like, terrible. But she didn't come across like that for me.
She didn't. But I also didn't know how to really read her either. I just know towards the end, it was a little moment, because when Lola kind of was mentioning that she's been a judge and you're just now showing up, I was just thinking, like, I can totally relate to that. I know a lot of people, I think it speaks to black mothers, probably mothers in general, that you got to make sure you're, like, there for your kids. Make sure you let them know, I'm proud of you. The fact that you see her go this far, maybe setting, I feel like that she could be making history with the family. Who knows what the case may be, but I just feel like that for me, I saw that, and I'm hoping we see her mom a lot more on the show. Yeah.
Even to the point when she talked about, you missed my basketball games and, like, those kind of things like that. It seems like the mom may be having some, like, trauma with kind of seeing her daughter, like, maybe be successful because it seems like she didn't show up for the accolades, or maybe her mom was working too much. Like, we don't know much about Lola's dad. So it seems like it's just a lot of variables.
Yeah.
Mo mentioned that Roxy, she kind of made it seem like that her daughter was possibly maybe bougie with the judge entrance with that comment. Did you guys get that?
She did seem like she had a problem with Lola being a judge, kind of like, man, you joined the system.
Right.
That's kind of the vibe that I got from it. So, yeah. I agree, Mo.
I mean, if Lola's mom is like, she works with homeless people, she really tries to, model her life after helping people who aren't as fortunate, then I can see her looking at Lola like, you're just a pretentious judge who sends people like the people I'm trying to help to jail who really just need help. So I can see it from that aspect. But I just feel like as someone's mom, you got to be able to brush that off. You know, even if you don't really agree with that life, it's still a good life. She's a judge, for crying out loud. The only black woman judge for all the judges there. So
she never, at least I don't remember her saying, "I'm proud of you," or even acknowledging the fact that she is the only black female judge there. So
right.
I don't know. I think there's more to the story than we think.
Right, because if she never came for Jax's case, if there was no case with Jax, would she have ever come? Is the question.
I think Lola asked that.
Yeah.
In the episode.
I don't know. We'll have to see. You think she's gonna come back in future episodes?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Do y'all like her enough for her to come back, or is it like, oh my gosh, here comes Lola's
No,
mom?
she's interesting. So yeah,
She's spicy. I like her.
she is.
Yeah.
She's still
That's the
hard
word,
for me to
spicy.
read. I don't know.
Yeah, she's hard to read.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're missing some information, like you all said. So maybe once we get some more of that information, we'll know how to read her or really understand who she is. All right, let's move on. So we had a little bit, it wasn't a huge story, but it was enough for us to talk about it where, and I don't understand why they keep putting everything on Lola, but she was on search warrant duty, and an investigator asked her to come sign a search warrant. He probably just expected to be there for 5 seconds, get his warrant signed, and go on with his life. But she kind of gave him some pushback because she didn't like that they didn't know who was in the house and that they wanted to do this raid without much information. So she decides that they need to do an interview with the informant. So what were you thinking before the interview? Like, did you feel like, why is she doing all that? Is she's doing the most, or did you think it was a good idea? And then after seeing the informant, did it make you more suspicious, or were you still like, why does it matter?
For me, I think because I see so many videos of people calling the police on people when they're innocent, may not be necessarily doing anything. I was looking at it more from that standpoint. So I'm like, okay, maybe it'd be good to bring her in. And I didn't know they could do that. So that opened up my eyes for that. I like the fact that she brought her in and questioned her. This lady, she was from Beverly Hills, the bougie part for sure. But no, I mean, seriously though, honestly, I just felt like she was judging. She was being very judgmental. She just assumed that they were gangster rappers. And the way she was talking, it just seemed like that I understand why Lola was like kind of had pushback. I was actually shocked when it turned out to be true, when they actually did have guns. Because they were just like, dang, like Kramer was actually right about it.
Right. I mean, she did say there were tons of boxes of ammunition.
Yeah.
But it was kind of hard to take that from her when she basically prejudged. Well, I guess it wasn't a prejudgment because she ended up being right. But for us, it felt like a prejudgment.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about, gangsters and rappers. It's just like when you use those terms, it's like, sis, who you talking about?
A black man at a house in Beverly Hills doesn't automatically mean he's some type of gangster or rapper. He could just be a successful black man who lives in Beverly Hills.
There we have it. The only thing that I had a problem with was I kind of felt like it was prompted by Lola's mother. I don't know if she would have done that if her mother hadn't made that comment early on about invasion of people's privacy. So that was my only thing is, are you doing this because this is what you really want to do? This is what you believe the process should look like, or just because your mother got in your ear?
Good point.
Yeah, that was my only issue.
I think Lola would have done it either way after dealing with the old DA lady who had the bad informant, and that's like what my mind immediately went to, because she almost, got in some real trouble looking out for this lady, and she paid that guy off, or however it happened at the auto shop. So that made me nervous. And then I was like, okay, cool. They're going to talk to someone and it's going to be fine. And then the lady got on the stand. And like you said, that was like, okay, there's ammunition. Cool. They're going to take the bad guys down. And then she said they were gangster rappers. And I have like really bad secondhand embarrassment. And I just wanted to sink in my chair like, lady, we don't want to do this anymore. Like, I don't want to do this anymore.
I didn't know secondhand embarrassment was a thing.
I
didn't know there was a word for it, but I'm going to use it now.
Yes, it is for sure a thing with a name. But do you think it really was just a trust issue with that crime investigator? Like, do you think if Mark would have been the one, I know Mark is a lawyer, not an investigator, but somebody who she's close to like Mark came and was like, I need you to sign this with the same exact informant, the same exact information, do you think she would still be as hesitant to sign it?
I don't think she would be, because it's Mark. I think it goes back to with Benner saying that she knew Kramer for 10 years.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, so it's almost, you don't question it. I feel like that with Mark, they go way back. She would have definitely been like, okay.
Yeah.
For sure.
Y'all
I'm
agree?
on the fence.
Really?
Because it said that her and Craner had a relationship when she was not a judge.
She was a prosecutor.
So wouldn't
yeah.
that relationship carry on to her new position, or now she just, did she get bougie, or like what
Yeah.
happened?
That's why I'm like, did your mother just get in your ear and cause you to question
Yeah, I
things?
didn't even think about that, but that's a good point.
That's a good point.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm not sure, especially if she had a good relationship with him. Like, I don't see why she would have questioned it, So I just go back to that. Like, I don't know if this was really from Lola.
Yeah. Speaking of Judge Benner, so what happened was Benner ended up signing it anyway. And it ended up being right. There was a bunch of guns, and it ended up being a successful raid. So with that being said, because it did end up working out for the greater good, do you think that Lola should have just brushed it off or kept going? Or do you think she was in her rights for approaching Judge Benner about it?
She was right.
Okay.
Most that when she raised her voice, the boss went to the Ice Cube on check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have raised my voice at my boss, but I would have had a conversation.
Right.
Okay.
For sure. I definitely would have brought it up too. I think it's just a matter of just having that respect. Like, at least let her know you have her on warrant duty, so at least give her that courtesy.
Yeah.
So I think she had a right to be upset.
That's true. What do you think?
Yeah, same. Even when someone asks you to do something and then they turn around and do it, or they don't like how you did it, and it's just like, well, why'd you ask me if you were going to do it yourself anyway? So I feel like that would have made me really upset, but I probably wouldn't have raised my voice. But I also think Benner, she's like, I appreciate you like standing up to me or like bringing this to my attention because you wouldn't have before. So it lets her know like Lola's really coming into her own. People need to start respecting her more. So yeah.
Yeah, because I guess the same instinct that Benner had about letting him get the search warrant is the same instinct that Lola had about not letting him get it. Like, I need to go with my gut, and even though her gut didn't really lead her in the right place, at least, I guess it would have been worse if she did sign it, and then it would have ended up being something that wasn't it, and then it became a racial thing, and then, I feel like that probably would have been worse anyway. So, you can't win for losing sometimes.
Well, never know.
Never know. All right, so let's talk about Emily and Luke. I was thinking that we weren't going to have to make them a topic because, they kissed and everything's great. They're going to be together and fall in love and live happily ever after, so we're not going to need to talk about them. But Miss Emily is back at it with the game.
Look, I told y'all. It's so early in the season, and like I said, we got 22 episodes. So I think it's gonna be a process.
Yeah.
I want to see Joe.
I feel like
Joe's
he's
gonna pull
coming.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I want to see Joe. I'll just say that.
I mean, do we want to see Joe because he's kind of an abuser? But maybe it'll come like a blow for blow with Luke and Joe.
That's what I want to happen.
Like, he'll have to defend her, and that's when she's going to be like, oh, I can put my guards down.
That was gonna be my
That's what I
prediction.
want.
That's why
Okay,
I was like,
we're
let
going
me
into
stop.
predictions. Let me
But
pull
yeah.
it back. But how did we feel when we saw Emily be like, oh, yeah, I kissed you, but I shouldn't have? Were y'all like, oh, my gosh, this girl?
I mean, for me, it's predictable. I feel like I'm not shocked. But then again, I want to be sensitive because she was abused. So I can understand that it's being scary for her. She just went through that. And then with her wanting to be with Luke or having these feelings for Luke and want to take things slow, she probably feels like, okay, maybe I rushed it. Maybe I just need to take my time and just be cautious.
Yeah.
So I get that.
It was hard for me at first because I was like, we came so far, and now we're going all the way back to week one. But I'm gonna go back to my therapy stool again. I understand that she's working through it, but I want her to actually make steps and stop just sitting in the scared box. Like, what are you doing to work through this? How are you moving forward? For me, I need to know that you're actually progressing and you're making plans and you're not just going to sit here and keep me waiting forever.
Yeah.
I thought Luke is amazing. He's gracious. He's kind. He said, hey, whenever you're ready. But it's at the same time, but are you doing anything? I can't wait forever. So it's tough.
So do you think that therapy for her is just going after it and taking the chance with Luke to kind of move past it, or not talking to Luke so she can take that time to go to therapy and work on
I
herself?
want her to talk to a professional and work through this.
But with Luke by her side or not by her side?
I personally am a fan of processing things without the added distraction.
Okay.
So that's okay. But also when she's talking to Luke, I feel like it's just my husband was abusive. She's not really telling him, to me, she's not telling him much, and she doesn't have to. But I want her to tell somebody and really work through it. Because I want her to be happy. I like them as a couple, but you can't just continue to play people's hearts like that. Like, you got to work through it.
What do y'all think?
I had a lot of like feelings with this. Like, I feel like the first time when she said, "I know I shouldn't have," I'm like, just end it. You know, just break up. You let him move out the country, girl. Like, just leave it alone. Yeah,
Not the state, the country.
right. But then when she came back and was like, "I've been abused," and I was just like, I guess I have a question for all of you. Like, when is it too early to like expose your baggage? Because I'm like, girl, when did he need to know that? Like, and I think it's fair to say, you know, I have some things I'm working through, and I appreciate you being here. I apologize for leading you on, but it just made me realize I need to backtrack a bit. But as far as she was like, you bag lady, here's my baggage.
Yeah, she definitely was.
I agree. It's heavy.
Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens. All right, so let's get into our weird court cases.
Yes. So everyone has heard of the case with the hot coffee, but this one is more on the colder side. So this is Alexander, forgive me if I mispronounced her last name, Foruzesh versus Starbucks. So his claim was that they put ice in your iced beverage. They put too much ice in it, therefore deceiving you and taking away from the amount of iced coffee or iced tea that you're getting. So it's kind of like they're tricking the customer. Ultimately, this case was dismissed. This happened in California in 2016. Ultimately, it was
Was it about iced coffee?
Yes, it was about...
That is such a California argument.
It is a very California
Anything
argument.
with iced coffee. Wow, okay, sorry.
It's okay, it's okay. So yeah, he felt like, hey, you guys are putting too much ice in our beverages and you're stealing beverage from us. Ultimately, the case was dismissed. The judge said that that no reasonable consumer would think, for example, that a 12-ounce iced drink such as coffee or iced tea contains 12 ounces of coffee or tea and no ice. So they were saying that by ordering an iced beverage, it's in the name. There's no reasonable person that would go into it thinking you're not going to get ice in the iced beverage. Yeah. And then there's also the fact that you can order less ice or more ice, like you can customize it. So yeah, so it was a really interesting case. It just makes you wonder, like, man, like what are people willing to do for money? Or if you want to go the Emily route, what's going on in his life that would cause him to want to do this? But ultimately it was dismissed. He appealed it and it was dismissed again. So yes, that is
He
today's
felt real
report.
strongly about that iced coffee.
Yes.
All right. Okay, let's get into news and gossip.
Yes, news and gossip. So this week, Wilson Bethel sat down with Collider magazine and they talked about the All Rise show. And I didn't know that Simone, Lola, was actually the last major cast member added to the show. And I also didn't know that Wilson and Simone had a relationship. Not like a relationship, but a friendship outside of the show.
Like on the show.
Right. So they actually met through mutual friends and they've hung out a few times and they hung out once they found out that they were going to be on the show together. So I was like, that's kind of cool.
Okay.
And he talked about, like last week we found out that Emily had interest in going back to school to be a lawyer. And he actually said that he would have loved to play a role like Atticus Finch. I don't know if you guys read the book To Kill a Mockingbird. I was like, okay, I can kind of see the comparison, like where we are now. So I was like, I think it's so cool that when you have these aspirations and you kind of just leave them like in the middle of nowhere and then they come back. Because I guess he was on a show before this that was like really dark and it got canceled. So yeah, it's like a full circle moment for him.
Good. Awesome. That explains their chemistry on camera because I just feel like there's more there, but whatever. Anyway, all right, let's quickly get into our predictions. I know predictions are hard with this show, but what are we thinking?
I am on the same page as you guys. I want the husband, Joe. I want such a random name. I want Joe to show up, and I want Luke to
defend her
and to win at defending her, and that she is his. Like, I want her to be able to love freely.
Her knight in shining armor.
Her knight in shining armor.
What y'all thinking?
Oh, everyone's looking at me. Okay. I'm ready. Like last week, I talked about Sherry letting her guard down, and I feel like this guy might be the guy to do it. I really just want to see something messy. Like I want to see her come into the office like with her shirt a little disheveled, and everyone gives her like a side eye.
Okay.
I know it's a little far out, but that's where I am.
Yeah.
Happened.
Okay. Same thing with Joe, like I said earlier. And then I thought it was kind of cute, funny, with Sarah and Sherry kind of just competing for floor warden, which Lola got it. But but I mean, I would like to see them kind of going at it. To me, that added a little something. I just want to see Sherry just loosen up a bit.
Yeah.
So, but I think we'll get that.
Yeah. I agree. I think the same thing is going to happen with, Detective Bay and Sherry, obviously. I kind of felt, even before he made it obvious that he likes her, that she kind of had an interest there with how flirty and playful she was kind of being and her kind of shutting him down. So I hope they do pursue that because she does need to loosen up. She needs some D or something because Shorty is so high strung. Oh, my gosh. And then I think that Lola needs to put her foot down about all these jobs she got. She got the search warrant. Now she the floor warden and she a judge. And she's just doing too much. Why do I keep giving her all these jobs? So hopefully she puts her foot down. That's my prediction.
That's above her pay grade.
Right, exactly. Like, I got to be the floor warden too. Like, what? All right, well, this has been so fun, but we got to get out of here. But before we go, ladies, let the world know where they can find you.
You guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at PrincessCTV.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Zuri Shalice.
And you guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Shawnteairrra.
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram as well at I am Lexi Fierce. That is IamLexiFierce. And until we meet again, buzz you later.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.